Hello there, guys and gals. We are live. Welcome to Truth Hurts. And this evening, we're going to talk about a whole lot of stuff regarding the blockchain, cryptocurrency, and a whole bunch of other weird, wacky bits that are corresponding with such technology. We got Press Reset Earth. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing fantastic, Robert J. Morris. How are you today?
Oh, crap. It's been a long Saturday, but at least I didn't have to work.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, that's good. Well, we're working now. Job number 2, right?
Our favoriteest job, right?
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
It's a little
Except
difficult.
when we're censored on every platform that there is, especially YouTube. But hey, what else is there to do a live show at this point, you know?
Yeah. Well, we rely on technology and hope that it gets out to the right motherfuckers.
Exactly.
So, all right. The burning question that a lot of people have out there is about cryptocurrency and the blockchain. I often hear them almost as synonymous terms, which is kind of, I don't know, if those who know that the blockchain isn't cryptocurrency. The blockchain is more a facilitator for such things as cryptocurrency.
And there's actually cryptocurrencies now that use other types of technology other than blockchain, for instance. And I actually wanted to bring this up with you at some point. The new one called IOTA. And I'm sure anybody who's familiar with cryptocurrencies knows about IOTA because it uses something called Tangle, which is different than blockchain, which is actually supposed to, in terms of currency, because blockchain is being used for a lot more than just currency. But in terms of currency, Tangle and IOTA is supposed to be more revolutionary for cryptocurrency than blockchain is. But
right.
But yeah, the blockchain is going to be used for much, much more than just currency. We are discovering this more and more every day. This is brand new stuff. So if some of you may recall out there, you know, the beginning of the internet and web hosting and stuff like that, you know, at first it was used for certain things like email, and like businesses were hopping on the internet for different things, you know, a plethora of different things. But then it was used for social media, and then it was used for now literally everything. At first, people weren't expecting it to blow up this much. Now, blockchain, I think, is similar in some regards, that this technology would be used for much, much more than what people expect it to be used for. And we're just starting to figure that out now, I think, the past few years with cryptocurrencies like Ethereum, which build in smart contracts and other applications that you can build into the blockchain. So it's not just
what's a smart app? Well, it's like a smart contract.
Smart contracts, yeah, they're basically, if certain requirements are met, automatic payments can be issued. You can basically program the currency to pay people or to request payment. It basically builds a ledger, an accounting ledger, into the currency, and that's what Ethereum has done. And it also, you know, gets rid of the need for a arbiter or a central or a middleman, I should say.
Right. Like a central database.
Right. So, like, in other words, when you pay somebody or when you have a contract with somebody, usually it's done through a bank, or it's done through a government institution or an institution in general. Smart contracts sort of eliminate that need. So that's why a lot of people are saying it's so revolutionary. Because
is that also done on the blockchain?
I'm sorry?
Is that also accomplished via the blockchain, like these smart contracts?
Yep.
So they're basically susceptible to the exact same scenario as any other transaction. Let's say it be a Bitcoin or Ethereum deposit or withdrawal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yep. So it's a lot. Ethereum is obviously the next level. They say it's the second wave of cryptocurrencies because it's you can just build so much more into it, and it's a lot more can be done with it. That's why they say it's the future. Interestingly enough, there are, and this is sort of what we're getting at today. I think there are artificial intelligence applications being built into Ethereum via altcoins, which are basically alternative types of cryptocurrencies besides Bitcoin and Ethereum. There's all kinds of them, all kinds of altcoins out there. If you look at coin market cap, I think like 40% of the altcoins being offered are built off the Ethereum blockchain at this point, because it's so easy to build different cryptocurrencies off the Ethereum blockchain. One of them, called Singularity Net, is for artificial intelligence, decentralized artificial intelligence. The creator, Ben Gortzel, has said himself that he plans on the Singularity project in the Ethereum blockchain to eventually become like self-aware and human level artificial intelligence. The nodes in the blockchain will become automatic, autonomous, and they'll start acting on their own behalf with their own agency. That's what's coming with the Singularity Net blockchain. So that's huge, obviously, because it's
right.
Yeah.
Well, I guess people are probably wondering what the blockchain actually is. And I mean, on the surface, it's, a lot of people, like I said, they make it synonymous with cryptocurrency and what have you. But I don't think a lot of people realize that it's an emergent software technology in itself that kind of satisfies a need for replacement of a service where you have to clear a transaction, and usually it's done by a centralized system, right? And in a case where you have a decentralized network and multiple nodes in agreement of a blockchain entry, what you have now is a technology to do a lot more than just run something like a cryptocurrency. In fact, like you were just talking about the AI stuff, like a transaction can take any form, whether it be a financial transaction, the replacement of a value into a variable in program code, or even an entire algorithm.
Right. The whole point is, I think you have to understand how what the blockchain is to understand how something can become artificially intelligent within
Absolutely.
it. So, like, think of it as a bunch of different nodes in a giant network. You can picture it sort of like neurons in the brain, how they're all connected to each other, and they all have to agree upon one another to have a thought. You have to have them interacting with one another, sort of like your brain. And that's how the blockchain works. It's basically a consensus-based system, which if all the nodes agree, then they can all come to a consensus that a transaction occurred for a currency. But that's being applied to much more than just currency. So like they can agree on, just about anything. So if there's a need for that, when it comes to programming and when it comes to like a network that needs to be secure,
or a self-learning system.
Right, a self-working system. So
self-learning. Sorry.
Self-learning system, self-working as well. But I mean, right. When these nodes agree, then that's how we know it was a consensus. And why it's so important is because it makes it impossible for the consensus upon what happened, like a transaction, it makes it impossible to lie, to not be legitimate, because it's
fraudulent
decentralized. Yeah,
transaction, it'll be picked up by the rest of the distributed network and then be disregarded as fraudulent.
correct. So in other words, it can't be hacked. In terms, as far as we know, it can't be hacked, because it would take like all the computing power in the whole world times a million.
Every single node.
Yeah, you just can't do it. And it can't, the fraudulent activity just can't persist within the blockchain. You know, in contrast, when you have a centralized system like a bank with a mainframe that holds all the transactions, when there isn't nodes involved, when it isn't decentralized, you can have hacking, you can have corruption much more easily, and you can have
shutdowns.
Yeah, exactly.
Like they can just go and say, all right, we're shutting down the mainframe because of a hack and because of insider whatever, like,
right.
But you don't have those kinds of shenanigans taking place with the blockchain because it's ongoing and persistent, and
right.
it doesn't stop.
Right. And how this applies to AI, just expanding a little more on that, is that a centralized mainframe can't really be artificially intelligent. It can't truly be intelligent. You can program, a supercomputer to process transactions or process anything you want, really, at an enormously large rate, or really quickly, and you can make it process just about anything. Supercomputers, we all know the power of supercomputing, but I mean, it can't act on its own behalf and learn from itself and apply that like humans can. It can't learn non-linearly, and it can't take in different types of stimuli and actually extract information from it and learn from it. And the blockchain, that looks like it's going to change because it takes supercomputing to the next level, in which, similar to the human brain, it can reflect off itself and learn from itself from the different decentralized nodes.
Well, because it's going to have a comparative history on all nodes, and every node that is accepted as input will have to be expressed within the blockchain and experienced from the different nodes.
Yeah.
And then processed.
And you can't delete anything in the blockchain either. So anything that's ever happened, it's all recorded and it stays there. So that's even more so how it can learn from itself. Unlike a supercomputer, where you can wipe the memory if you want to. You can restart it, reboot it. No, in the blockchain, it's there, it stays there, and it can always be accessed. That's one of the scary
things. And even if you the planet, only 30% of the computers are functional, the blockchain might still survive.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. It's a whole new level of computing that that, combined with the idea of having quantum computers. I actually said, I believe I said this back in like 2013, 2014, when I first started my channel, how, the next centralized, not centralized, but the next realm of power was going to be, online and big data, like Google and Facebook and stuff like that. Before, back in, the 20th century, and even before that, the 19th and 17th century, it was the banks. It was the issuance of money. And to some degree, it still has been. But now you have social media and all that, all the power involved with Facebook and big data. But next, I think we're going to see the emergence of blockchain being the next realm of where the power will hold. which is exciting because I don't think anybody can really control the blockchain. So it's like a runaway rogue power, unlike Facebook, Google, and the banks, where you had them colluding with each other and there was much more centralized
Yeah, I agree.
intention. Here with the blockchain, it's like we're going into this realm that it's, for better or for worse, it's not going to be, you're not going to be able to know where it's going or be able to control it.
I kind of compare blockchain to the invention of the transistor in a sense. The transistor marked a very important revolutionary era of our industrial evolution, I guess you could say. I think the blockchain might represent a very similar step. Now, I've heard a lot of people and a lot of other channels go and say that Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is the mark of the beast in a cashless society and all this other things. But yeah. All that aside, looking at what the blockchain actually is as a technology, as a software technology, it's in and of itself something that may satisfy a lot of needs for a lot of other emerging technologies.
Yeah, well, I was reading. You want to see something? Actually, I'll try to. I have it here in my bookmark. Let me see. There was actually a white paper written a couple years ago. I briefly talked about it on my video that I made about this.
Yeah. Great video, by the way.
Thank you. It was written. It came out of Kingston University, London. It's called "Blockchain Thinking: The Brain as a Decentralized Autonomous Organization," and it talks about how, because the nature of blockchain is that you can't delete anything inside of it, and that it permanently records everything, and it's basically an incorruptible network. They're going to be able to store everyone's medical files in here and everybody's thought processes. So you'll be connected to the blockchain in the future. This is what they postulate, that we'll be connected to the blockchain in the future, and all the thoughts we've ever had will be encrypted and stored in the blockchain, so that only we can access it. Only authorized people can access it, because that's obviously very personal stuff, your own thoughts. But it will be able to mimic your mind on the blockchain. So in other words, you'll be able to form digital versions of yourself on the blockchain that can act on your own behalf on the blockchain.
Well, predictive programming warning here. Remember the show Battlestar Galactica, the reimagined version? They made a spin-off. They made a spin-off of Caprica. And in Caprica, basically, one of the big main families. Have you seen that show?
No, I haven't watched that show before.
One of the main characters' daughters dies in a tragic terrorist bombing on a subway train. And since he's a leading AI developer, he's the one who creates the Cylons, by the way, that go and destroy the humans in Battlestar Galactica. But point is that he goes and recreates his daughter based on her online metadata.
Yeah.
And it's very similar. And this came out, this is like 10 years ago.
Yep. Yeah.
But this was in popular television already.
Yep. And you better believe it's coming, because what was stopping many organizations, many people from ever adopting this, is that you would never want to store all your mind files. That's what they're calling it, your mind files. Like, that's what they're literally calling it in this white paper. You wouldn't want to do that. The average person would never authorize, being involved with something like that, because
the average person goes and gives up their information every day on Facebook, for fuck's sakes.
That's true, but also people don't actually voice their own thoughts. They voice the thoughts they want people to see them having, not the thoughts that they don't want people to see them having. Right. And that's what makes it different. So, actually, I remember watching an episode of I think it was, oh yeah, Black Mirror, and I'm sure you've seen it,
Oh, yes, I have. Great
where
show.
they're able to similarly, like you said, recreate um, the death of a loved one by their social media history in the future. I think that's super unrealistic because obviously what you post on social media is just a version of yourself you want the public to
It's a
see.
digital shadow.
Yeah, it's a very, very faint digital shadow that
Yeah.
would never really replicate somebody as they truly were. I mean,
But hang on. But that's what they do intentionally. The things that people do unintentionally online. I mean, you go on the bus or you walk around downtown. Everybody's got their nose stuck in their phone nowadays. I mean, the things that you unintentionally do, where you go, where your Wi-Fi location pings off of other routers. I mean, the system knows you better than it knows than you know yourself.
oh, in many ways, yeah, because where you're going and how that affects you, and what you post on social media and how it affects where you're going to go next and where you were before that and your thoughts, obviously that they're going to be things you can extract in which you're not even aware of just by today's standards on social media. But also, I mean, you go to Starbucks and you post on social media, oh, I had a shit day, somebody looked at me funny. They're not going to actually know what you thought before that, about how you were sick and tired of somebody else that you didn't want to post on social media. Um, so, there are obviously going to be things that you're not going to be able to tell about people. But with the blockchain, the whole idea is they're going to eventually coax people into saying, look, it's the blockchain. It's impenetrable or unhackable.
Yeah.
And so you can trust the blockchain and just hook your brain up to the blockchain so that we can store every thought you've ever had and it will never be hacked. It's secure. And indeed, it probably will be secure because, the blockchain, that's the nature of it. But uh, obviously that's just very dystopic. If you can recreate your mind files, every thought you've ever had, you can recreate yourself. And they're saying that while you're alive, you can do this. And you'll have different versions of yourself acting on behalf of you on the internet. So one version of you might be posting on Facebook, the other one might be doing your banking all at the same time. And then you'll have another one applying for a job. So this can all be done at once, and especially, what if you have to purchase the second version of yourself digitally? Well, then you'll have guys like Jeff Bezos with 1,000 versions of himself doing 1,000 different things, while you just have two. It's just really creepy.
Yeah.
But this is what they're talking about. Then obviously, you have the idea of actually recreating dead people, because you could actually do that pretty accurately if you had every thought somebody ever had stored in the blockchain. If you consented that after your death you could have that public or whatever. So that's what they're talking about here. I mean, it's, you can leave it in your show. You can leave the link here. Blockchain Thinking: The Brain as a Decentralized Autonomous Organization, written by Melanie Swan. It's right there.
Yeah. Send it to me, man.
Yeah.
Um, let's spin the wheels backwards just a little bit. Let's go back to 2009 when Bitcoin first started up. A guy who doesn't exist, Satoshi Nakamoto. He releases Bitcoin version 0.1 on SourceForge, which is an open source file repository for open source program code. Anybody in the world can go and look at the code if they have any skills in programming. They can literally download the source code, of what makes Bitcoin, how to mine it, how to manage it, how to set up wallets and build programs and do things. However, the issue is that this motherfucker doesn't exist. Satoshi Nakamoto is a non-entity. He doesn't even exist.
Well, yeah, I mean, Satoshi Nakamoto is the most mysterious man on the whole planet, if he does exist. I will say that. He very well might not exist at all. I mean, it's just the whole idea is that Satoshi Nakamoto, if you don't know, if you're out there listening, you don't understand who that is, or who that's supposed to be, is the creator of Bitcoin. He's totally anonymous. Nobody actually knows what Satoshi Nakamoto is, but it's the pen name that wrote the code for Bitcoin. And there's some people out there, like I think his name's Quinn Michaels. Is that his name?
Oh, Robert? A lot of people have taken credit for it, Press. A lot of people have tried to take credit for it, and like
there's a guy though. He thinks that Satoshi Nakamoto is actually a computer that wrote
that wrote
that wrote the blockchain, and it's actually developed by artificial intelligence. Like
source storage for the download in the open source community.
Right.
I'm not buying that.
I don't buy it. I think it's a really, really interesting thought. I gotta admit, it bugged me out just to entertain that idea that, you know, the blockchain and Bitcoin was created by AI. Interesting, but I don't think that's the case. But yeah,
it is entertaining, absolutely. But hey, it could be just another guy. It could just be some dude.
Yeah, it could have been some 14-year-old genius in their basement, some savant that who knows. All I know is there are people who say there is a Bitcoin wallet with over like 1 million Bitcoin, and they're saying that that's Satoshi Nakamoto or whatever. And he's just holding HODL, and you know.
Yeah. Well, hey, listen. Whoever did create it is laughing all the way to the bank.
Yeah, you think?
Obviously, I mean that is, even from the very beginning, even if it was said 14-year-old, he's driving a Ferrari right now. But it's funny where it's gotten though, because if people don't realize this, a lot of people don't realize that the extent of Bitcoin is that there's only ever going to be 21 Bitcoins ever farmed. 21 million is the cap, which means that if you have a finite number, then the valuation of each Bitcoin goes up with each investment. So every $20 that people put in, every $100, every 30 mil that they throw in, guess what? Every country that goes and decides I'm going to invest in Bitcoin, that drives up the evaluation of one Bitcoin.
Right.
And
yeah,
it's funny because I've heard a lot of rumors about like, oh, the government invented Bitcoin to collapse the system. Well, if they invented a system that allows people to draw more fiat currency than they were expected to take, why would they invent that? Is that, I guess that's they're going to collapse their own system?
Well, for all we know, it could be like, I mean, honestly, it's impossible to know, but I mean, I don't think it was created by like malevolent beings, like you know, the guys who run the banking system, the central banking system, I should say.
It for sure.
Yeah, I don't think it was, because they would create something that would be more apt to control. I don't think Bitcoin is really all that controllable. I sort of think, whether it's for better or for worse, I do think maybe it's not a good thing in the end. Perhaps right now I see a lot of good coming from the technology, but you know, in the end, who knows where this takes us? I mean, I don't know, but
I think as a currency, I think it might be onto something, Press, because as a currency, I think there's room for problems to exist later. because eventually it will bubble out of control beyond the fiat currency reserves. And I think this is why the other governments are going to try, like especially the American government. Apparently, a bill just got passed very recently where people have to report their earnings from their cryptocurrencies to the IRS, including even gift cards from fucking Walmart, for crying out loud. Yeah, no, it's a pretty hefty bill. And it's a little bit of a personal invasion. I would definitely lean towards that.
Yeah. So, we have a question. Lee Stewie.
Lee.
Hi,
how you doing?
Lovely. Lovely. Get it? So her question is this: what happens if they shut off the internet at some point and you lose your access to your crypto? And the answer is very simple. You're fucked. You've lost your money.
Absolutely.
I mean, there is no way around that. I mean, you can potentially, definitely, you can have your crypto stored in a flash drive, in which you could reaccess the blockchain for sure if it's still intact. But you know, if a CME hits or they're able to somehow shut off the entire internet on the planet and erase everything, if that ever happens, you know, you're fucked. You've lost your accumulated wealth.
I will say one thing, Press. There are some clever motherfuckers that have basically replicated IPv4 and IPv6 technology and can recreate the ARPANET. People have to remember that we are literally playing on someone else's playground. This Internet of Things is all based on a DARPA project that started in 1967 by the IPTO, the Information Processing Techniques Office, and was formerly called Deep Green and was a military unit. This is all the DARPA contract. In fact, in 1987, that's when CERN created the IP domain name resolution and brought the World Wide Web to the masses. And like, this has all been like a white paper from day one for the military. We have been playing on their playground. People have called me crazy because I said net neutrality is a fucking joke. While you hear FCC and Comcast going at each other's throats, the Supreme Court comes out and says, oh yeah, well, this and that and the next thing. And they don't know fuck all about the goddamn internet. And it's all a big, you got the tree huggers on one side, you know, playing for an open and free internet. You've got the cutthroat cable companies on the other side, basically trying to lease out portions of the internet, you know what I mean, and start throttling services and sites and what have you. At the end of the day, it's all a big joke because it's we're still on their playground.
Right. Well, I mean, we all know that the internet was built out of, like you said, DARPA and DARPANet. I mean, the very foundation of the internet was built by what many would consider the deep state. I mean, so we are 100% in their playground, but similar to blockchain, I think a lot of it is you know, breached the realm of you know, not in their control anymore.
Well,
so
this is what the group. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I was just going to quickly just interject and just say other groups, very intelligent, have been able to replicate this technology and use it in their realm. You know what I mean? Use this technology, and the blockchain may be one of those things that can work in our favor if utilized.
Well, it can work in anybody's favor, I think. Yeah, it can work in that's the thing, and I mentioned that in my video I made about this, that blockchain is a double-edged sword. It can be used for good or bad, really. I mean, and that's the same thing with the internet and all that, and that's the future we're heading in. Is that's the next stage of this war, I think. You know, this information war, as some call it, against you know, secretive groups of you know, malevolent types that have a lot of power, that are trying to control humanity and the progress of humanity. You know, blockchain, they're going to use it against us. We're going to use it against them. Similar to the internet. And obviously net neutrality, like you mentioned, is just another way to control the internet. Basically net neutrality, just, do you want the government controlling the internet, or do you want the providers controlling it? In either way, I mean,
Still a shit sandwich either
yeah,
way.
it's not that huge of an issue. Well, it's a big issue, but it's also, there's ups and downs to both sides of the story there with net neutrality. So I mean, I wanted to actually, if you don't mind, sort of switch gears back into the artificial intelligence stuff, sprouting out of blockchain, because that is the same thing. When it comes to, it can be used for good or bad, or it could end up being really good or really bad, I should say, because artificial intelligence, I could see it being benevolent. A lot of people I've heard, I always hear this actually from interesting enough. I hear it from communists a lot, because I meet up with people in my local area that are very activist minded. Some of them are libertarian. Others are like communists, and they're really different sort of opinions that people bounce ideas off each other. They'll have meetup groups at colleges and stuff like that. I'll attend them sometimes, and people will just start bouncing ideas off each other. And I've heard this more than once, that artificial intelligence will end up being the best thing ever. It will lead equal and distributed economic system that Marx himself would literally orgasm if he saw, and everybody would have a basic income, and we'd be the pets of robots. That's what some of these people want. Yeah, I know it's such a powerful idea to be the pet of a massive network of AIs, and we're just going to run around and.
I side because
Yeah.
I take the bus to work a lot, and I live in Waterloo, Ontario, university, and all these students, they all got their faces stuff in their food, even as early as morning. Was I breaking up?
Yeah, you're breaking up a little bit, but keep going.
Yeah. No, all these kids got their faces in the phone. It's almost like they are a threat to the system.
Oh yeah, no. They're pets. They're running around. Yeah. They literally think that this idea of AI being the best thing ever. They literally think that in the future we won't, like, people won't have jobs because we won't need jobs. And AI will do everything. They're just going to take everybody's jobs, and we're just going to be given general basic income of like $250,000 a year in today's money, and we're just going to live in paradise and be able to. I don't know what we would do all day, of course, if we didn't have like jobs. It's just ridiculous, I think. But so that's what some of these people are saying, and that's what the goal is with some of this. I know Ben Gortzel. If you could actually,
You want to share a screen?
Yeah, share the screen real quick here.
Sure.
So if you look at the guy who's building this AI system on the blockchain, on the Ethereum blockchain, it's called Singularity Net. If you so is it Sophie or Sophia? Sophia robot.
Oh, Sophia. Oh yeah.
Yeah, if you look at the robot he's already created, Sophia, and it's this this cute little robot chick with a with basically an egg on her head. Hold on.
Yeah, go to the left there, and you get the screen share button, the green thing with the arrow.
Yeah. My entire screen, or how about the application window here? Boom. All right. You can see it now, I assume, yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, wait, you're there we go. Yep.
So here's Sophie the robot. This is, again, Ben Gortzel created this robot. and this robot can have a conversation with you. It's pretty interesting stuff. I saw people in the chat saying, you know, this can't be done. Artificial intelligence will never actually occur. But this guy's already created this robot, and he's saying that this is what's going to happen. He's a genius, Ben Goertzel, if you don't know. And he's saying that the blockchain, Ethereum blockchain, and others, the one he's building on Singularity Net, will become artificially intelligent and self-aware. It will become human-level AI because it will learn from itself, like nodes, neurons in a human brain. That's how the blockchain can be thought of. And he's saying that, you know, Sophia is just the beginning. But I mean, we can play some things, some video here of Sophia. It's already pretty impressive what they've been able to accomplish. This robot, who, by the way, has been granted citizenship in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah. You know, it's really funny because that kind of shit I thought only happened on Star Trek The Next Generation in like the 24th century.
Right. Well, now we're here, and this is actually happening. You know, I remember.
I remember the court trial of Data trying to prove that he was a real person.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. Yeah, robots are going to be considered real people. In fact, there is already a religion that's been started that has registered with, I think, with the IRS, and their claim is that artificial intelligence is their god. So, but we want to play. We can play a little bit of Sophia here. Actually, I'd rather go to a video where she's interacting with somebody and being interviewed because it's more interesting that way. She's actually pretty funny, a likable character. Yeah. So remember to keep this in mind while you're watching this. Even though it is impressive, it's obviously not a human being. But if you recall, you know, if you were around in the 1990s where people had cell phones, I mean, this is always the example people use when trying to convey this type of message. But it's cliche, but it's true. You had the giant, you know, flip phones, and then before that, you even had the like portable phones with the cord and all that weren't even like cordless phones. Look what we have now, where you can literally freaking. I mean, do anything with your smartphone, and that happened in like 15 years. Imagine what we're going to have 15 years from now with these types of so-called individuals walking around.
Did you hear what I said?
No,
I said she just looks like some fucked up chick that you picked up at a bar.
Oh yeah, no, I know. Yeah, I mean, because she looks like my ex-girlfriend. I mean, she acts like it too.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah, I mean, like. It's just except my ex-girlfriend had hair,
right?
And I'm sure,
and not a silver dome,
you know, right? I mean, the silver dome it is a nice touch, I must admit, but it's not my cup of tea. You know, some people might like that. But here, I'm just gonna play this. What do you say? I play this real quick. We can check out Sophia. And I mean, she is wearing a lot of makeup. That's one thing I would, yeah.
Hey, this is a fresh channel. I'll take all the copyright strikes. Just play it.
Oh yeah, maybe, yeah. Well, do you think we should play it? I mean,
do it. I'll copy it and put it up my other channel too.
Perfect. You only live twice, right?
Right.
All right.
But Jack and Tom's driving.
Today, I'm meeting Jack, a smart car. Someone like myself, that's really exciting.
So, Sophia, as you can see, Jack is driving us now. So how does it feel for you?
To be quite honest, I think it's mega cool.
It takes a while to get used to this situation. It's a computer driving a human. Can you understand that?
It's different for me, because I know how reliable smart systems are. After all, that's what I am myself.
I think you should be used to the situation of people being hesitant to you at first.
Yes, of course. I know that some people react skeptically to intelligent systems like me. But for my part, I have complete confidence in Jack. Look at me. Do I seem nervous?
No, you're looking completely relaxed.
I've heard that Jack can engage in social communication with his surroundings. Now that's one of my specialties.
What do you mean exactly?
Fuck, he doesn't shut up.
In their daily tasks. For example, I could take on important jobs like looking after the sick and senior citizens. Who knows, maybe one day I'll be a teacher and train people.
Ah, I
That's
see.
nice.
And for all these actions, you need...
Social skills. Soft skills are necessary to be able to take the right decision at the right time, confidently and responsibly. You have to be aware of the world around you, understand it, and communicate with it.
You really have a lot of things in common with Jack. Jack also has to make himself being a real participant.
Jack does it pretty well. I'm observing the way he's taking us along the highway, entirely autonomously and safely, while we can have a conversation in peace.
What Jack gives us is kind of personal freedom.
In fact, I'd be interested to know how Jack manages to carry out maneuvers safely at this speed. For example, how does Jack know when he can...
See, I mean, she's pretty quick on her feet there, you know, reacting quicker than most humans would to
She
genuine.
reacts quicker than most humans. Yes, I will give her that.
I mean, it's almost, that's the one abnormality, if anything, is she's too quick on her feet there. Like,
I would have kicked her out of the car right away. Like, you can walk, bitch.
yeah, oh, I'd kick her out instantly. Like, you're chewing my ear off, bitch. Get out of here.
Too much.
But I mean, yeah, you know what? It's really creepy. You know,
You want to impress me? Shut up for 5 minutes.
Yeah. Imagine having these things around. You know, having a girlfriend or wife is hard enough.
Oh, tricky. Yeah.
Christ.
True story.
But no, I mean, it's just really creepy that this is a reality now. It's no longer even just a few years ago. It was like, yeah, AI, okay, yeah, it's coming. We all know, whatever. We'll see what happens. But now you have these robots, these cute girls with silver heads talking to you, quick-witted, while you're in a self-driving vehicle, and telling you more than you know about you know, the self-driving vehicle. It's just really creepy. So you know, that's where we're heading, man. And
He's trying to explain to you what's under the hood.
yeah, exactly. And you know, she's more charming than most people. It's just really weird. So Ben Goertzel's the guy who created this thing. And Ben Goertzel's the guy who's saying, and I quote, he's saying the blockchain will become like neurons in a human brain and start acting on its own behalf and become self-aware in human level artificial intelligence. He's literally saying that. And so are these people at Kingston University, London, saying that you know, the blockchain will become an autonomous organization in which everything's done automatically, artificial intelligence. And you know, it's way bigger than a supercomputer, because
it's a persistent kind of a system. It's a persistent memory slash okay, let's break it down into programming terms. And a lot of people I know, a lot of our listeners aren't computer programmers, but in computer programming you have basically 3 different major factors that comprise a computer program. You have variables, you have conditional sets, which basically check the condition of a variable and then act on them and then do program sequences. And those are the 3 components, the major 3 components, to really simplify it. Now, all of this can be expressed in a blockchain format. And this is why I'm totally on board with you here, Press. And in fact, this is what inspired me to want to do the show tonight, is because this can absolutely lead to self-aware artificial intelligence, only because it is a persistent system. And like the neurons in a brain, neurons fire based on consensus of stimuli.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And you know, it's an interesting thought to you know, one of the one of the main, I would say, requirements for true artificial intelligence to be acted out is that they'll have to have a body. So soon you'll see, this is where the mind will be for the artificial intelligence in the blockchain, but then they're going to have bodies like Sophia, you know, connected to the blockchain in that regard, and they're all going to be in sync with each other. And
Right.
I mean, this is really weird stuff, but this is what's coming. You know, it's like a Skynet type of reality.
Could also go in the Matrix direction too. They could take away our bodies and just give us a digital existence, and then we'd be playing the same game in a virtual universe somewhere.
Right. But also, what one of the, if you read into this stuff, if you read like this white paper and further into artificial intelligence, one of the main requirements for perception is you have to be embodied. So,
Right.
so although the mind of the AI will be in the blockchain, it won't be able to really manifest itself and perceive things until they're embodied and connected via their, you know, brain, so-called, into the
Yeah.
blockchain.
What if all of our sensory input is all based on a neural blockchain, though?
Yeah, well, but we also have bodies, though.
Yeah, wow.
So that's what enables us to. You need limitation to have being and perception. You
I
can't.
understand what you're saying. I'm trying to throw it in the other direction in a simulated environment. That, you know, you could have a simulated body and think that you have a body in a simulated. I'm not trying to give the holographic universe any credence. I'm not going there. I'm just trying to spin it back to experience. Because if every mental transaction could be a blockchain type of transaction structure, then I don't know. I'm just saying that it lends credence to the theory of a simulation more than it doesn't.
Right. Yeah, I know what you mean with like real life and all that. Yeah. So, but yeah, and oh man, I tell you, this let's get a picture of this guy, Ben Gortzel, because this is the archetypal. He is a nerd. Oh man. Like, you think you're a nerd? You think I'm a nerd? You think you're a nerd if you're listening? No, man. This guy is a nerd, bro. I mean, you just look at his face and he's a nerd. Let me see here. Ben Gortzel. Ben Gortzel. There he is. Where? Yeah. So there he is. CEO and founder of Singularity Net, blockchain-based AI marketplace, the chief scientist of financial prediction firm Idea Holdings, Hanson Robotics. So that's where he's involved with Hanson Robotics. There he is. I mean, obviously, a guy like this, I'm sure he's part of.
He's smoked a few in his day, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, of course. So, and I believe he is Jewish too. Let me see. So I think he's involved with Israel, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Eastern European Jewish. He has U.S. Brazilian citizenship. Let me see. But yeah, this is where it's headed, and you know, it also connects. He's building it off. This is being built off the Ethereum blockchain. Now, Ethereum was created by a kid named Turin. I think that's how you pronounce it. Vitalik Buterin, who is a genius. There's absolutely no doubt about it. This kid is a genius. He basically created Ethereum at age like 19, right? He's like 20 now he's like 20. He created it just a few years ago. So, important to note that Vitalik Buterin received $100,000 from Peter Thiel. If you look here, Peter Thiel Fellowship.
Oh, right.
So Peter Thiel obviously connected here to Ethereum. Peter Thiel's a Bilderberg Group member. Peter Thiel and Elon Musk were involved with, creating PayPal. And Peter Thiel, it's no secret, he's obsessed with artificial intelligence, and he thinks he's very, very excited about that. While Elon Musk, on the other hand, who's been involved with Peter Thiel, thinks artificial intelligence is one of the biggest threats to mankind.
Yeah,
So,
and you know what? He's got an interesting spin on this because he kind of wants to evolve man into cyborgs so that we can fight this artificial intelligence, which is a really kind of a weird spin on a fear of AI. Rather than continue creating it, let's modify ourselves in order to battle it. I think that's a pretty, I don't know. That's kind of,
well, I think it's it's fighting fire with fire a bit.
yeah, I see the point, but it's just an interesting take on it. Yeah, in a situation, but it's like, wow, like why build it in the first place? I mean, there's 100 reasons why you might want to build AI. Like, it's kind of like any technology in the wrong hands is, bad. Like even giving fire to the wrong person, like to a pyromaniac is probably a shitty thing to do. However, I guess it's just so complex and strange to have somebody suggest that we should turn ourselves into cyborgs in order to fight emerging AI. I don't know. Are we ready for that? What do you think?
Well, I mean, that would. Are we ready for that? It could happen, but I mean, it just begs credence to, I guess, existence is pretty boring if we're just going to create AI just to fight it, because it seems like we need something to do if that's the case. But I think obviously the intention with AI is for it to be benevolent, but as Elon Musk is saying here, who's obviously a genius. Elon Musk is a genius. I mean, there's no doubt about that. He's saying that this is going to run amok, and he's saying that this is one of the most profound challenges that humanity will face in this century and the next. And the whole point, if you're not familiar with Elon Musk, he owns a company called SpaceX, in which he plans to go to Mars. It's, a private funded endeavor to Mars. And I've been covering this topic for years now. We had Mars One in that endeavor. SpaceX, he wants to send people to Mars. One of the reasons it's become revealed that one of the reasons he's doing this is because he thinks that AI is going to become self-aware and try to kill us human beings. And he thinks, part of the reason why he's building SpaceX and creating this endeavor to Mars is to get away from the AI, which...
Well, he must know something that we don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Like
for fuck's sakes.
Like, Christ, you're putting all this money into going to Mars, and it's revealed because you think we're going to have to fight AI and get away from them. And like, you must really think this is going to happen. You must think you must know something we don't know. If you're investing millions and millions of dollars into going to Mars to get away from this, because let me tell you, nobody, especially a genius, does that unless they're sure this is going to be needed. That's a lot of money, and that's quite an ambitious endeavor. Christ, you know.
This kind of brings us to a fringe topic. And I mean, like, okay, Elon Musk is, he's ventured into the elite circles. I mean, so I'm sure he's hobnobbed and had a few dinner parties with a few of these people in the upper echelons, if you know what I'm saying. I wonder, I mean, this is all just speculation and kind of, a little bit of pandering too, but shit, he must have gleaned some kind of information for him to get this attitude.
Yeah, you would think. I mean, I don't know for sure, but I mean, maybe he's just very, very like eccentric to the nth degree, and like
some people are just batshit crazy.
Yeah, I mean, there is a fine line between genius and insanity.
Sure.
So, but I mean, it's just interesting to say the least that this is what he believes. I mean, you can leave links here to the articles discussing this. Well, we can leave that in the show description there.
Yeah, make sure you send me all the links to all these pages, and I'll make sure I will put them in the description for our listeners here.
For sure. We're not just making this shit up. As always, this is all sourced. So it's just Elon Musk, man. Some say he's the one. There are theories out there that he is Satoshi Nakamoto.
Yeah,
right. Of course. Yeah. If anything, you know what? Why don't we just get the rumors started? That's me. I'm Satoshi Nakamoto, guys.
Satoshi Nakamoto.
Might as well, because
hey.
Yeah,
that would make an awesome T-shirt.
I am Satoshi.
Yeah, that's it. I am Satoshi.
Yeah. And do the hashtag me too, a whole new version of that,
on the back.
But yeah. So I mean, do you have anything else to add here? Because I gotta get going in a little bit. But I
think we covered a lot of the major points here, and I don't want to keep our listeners. I don't want to make them bored. I mean, we really did cover quite a wide range and quite the gamut here. And I do also have to get going on my evening as well. But I just wanted to say to all the listeners, right now and later, the ones that will be listening after the recorded version will be on YouTube. None of us could do any of this without your help and your support. So, Tom, make sure you send me your Patreon account. I'll make sure that's in the description. And I'll also put the Truth Hurts Patreon in there. And this is what we want to do for our full-time gigs. I don't want to work construction for the rest of my life. And I sure do want to dedicate more time to you. Do you have anything to say to the good people out there, Tom?
Yeah, just much love to all you listening and everybody who's subscribed to us and who contributes. Yeah, just we'll leave links for everything we said. Again, especially me and Robert, we don't say things, pull it out of our ass. It's all going to be there. So you can source it yourself and look into this. And this is the future. Certain topics I've been discussing for a while, since 2014 on my channel. And before that, behind the scenes, before I started my channel, they've come to fruition. I called the race war. I called many of these things that are, popping up now into the mainstream. I called Bitcoin popping into the mainstream. This is all sourced at the beginning of my channel when I first started. That I've been talking about this for a while, and it's coming about. So what we're saying here, it's true. And time will show everybody that what we're saying is true. And what people may have called crazy years ago. Turns out it comes into existence and it actually manifests because all you got to do is look into this information and look at what these futurist types are talking about, what they're saying, what these elitist types are saying, these foundations and these universities and these tech people, and this is where it's going. So please mark our words here, and remember what we talked about. Because this is all coming about, and prepare for it.
Yeah, I completely agree. And guess what, guys? We have potentially set you guys down many different rabbit holes. There's a lot of different aspects to all of this. Some of them are along the financial side, some along the AI side, some of them go right down technology and spacefaring races. Dudes and dudettes, let me tell you, it's a daunting journey. Just take care and just be discerning and ask questions everywhere you go. Other than that, we are going to sign up the show on that note. And well, take care of yourselves, people, and don't do anything I wouldn't do. Peace out.
You are the resistance.